This is Derek on the Great Western Trail going through Utah, looking down at Logan Canyon. And I'm here to remind you, you're working too hard. Hey!
It is 4:30 in the morning and the rain started again.
Woo! Oh! Uh-oh, uh-oh. This is what the Great Western Trail is about. I'm pretty sure I found the road to heaven. My goal is to hike on foot across Utah going north to south and do it by avoiding as many urban areas as I can. Here's some things you should know about the trip. Number one, most of my route follows the Great Western Trail, but it does have a large detour and several of my own changes just to avoid urban areas. Number two, I'm not hiking each leg in order where I start where I left off. I'm just getting in whatever trails I can when I can. Number three, I'll provide maps at the end of the video to show you exactly where I went. So if my distance calculations are off, you can go ahead and calculate them yourself. Here's a look at where I went for this leg. So this wasn't the first hike I did towards my goal, but it is the first if you're following me from north to south. The trail starts along a very bouldery road 3 miles north of Beaver Mountain Ski Resort, kind of near Bear Lake, and it ends at Friendship Campground in Richards Hollow in the left-hand Fork Canyon. If you're going along the road north of Beaver Mountain, bring a real substantial off-road vehicle. A Subaru Outback is going to have a hard time getting over these things. I think we'll go around this. All right, now that that info is out of the way, let's get back to the trail. We came from a little bit further up than this. We're going down here. And then we'll turn and then start following that trail there through Stump Hollow. I know you want to say hi. Alright, we've run into our first snag, and I thought this was supposed to be the Great Western Trail, but they don't have very good maps at all. So now we're gonna have to bushwhack it a little bit through here to find the trail we're supposed to be on. So Congress, go ahead and fix that. We ran into a no trespassing sign, and I thought it was on the official Great Western Trail, but I had to backtrack a little bit. It was only about 50 yards that we had to figure out where we were going to. But I think I found it now. Kind of. But just take note, out there, well, kind of like right out there is Beaver Mountain. There's a little kind of ridge there. And so you'll see on maps, there's not a lot of clear detail as to specifically where the Great Western Trail goes. But I would recommend, if you're hiking along, trying to find the Great Western Trail, to go a little bit south through the giant meadow here. There's a giant meadow kind of in this valley. Take a south route and then you'll meet up with the trail. Here's the ridge line there, and then it leads into Stump Hollow. You'll definitely see this ridge line as you come into the valley. So there's a lot of people who don't go into the woods very often. And they kind of have this idea that if they go out into the woods, they're gonna run into some big predator every few feet and they're just crawling all over each other. Well, it's true. Sometimes, you know, people go 20 years hiking through the woods and never have a single encounter with any kind of large predator. And other people, you know, could walk right out of their car and get mauled. So you never know. You always have to be prepared as you can be, and to be alert as you're going along the trail. But really, I do a lot of hiking, and there's really not that much to be afraid of. There's much more out here to enjoy than there is to be afraid of. I recommend, if you can hike with somebody in a group, even if it's just one other person, it's a lot better than hiking on your own. But sometimes there's nobody else available. So I try and let people know where I go. I do bring a weapon along with me that I frequently train with, and I try and be aware of my surroundings as I go. But there's really a lot here to enjoy, and I think it would take away from that enjoyment if I was worried about getting attacked all the time. So be aware, but just have fun. Of those who have died in the wilderness, death from exposure far outweighs the number of deaths from animal attacks, so it pays to be prepared ahead of time for bad weather. Now that we made it to the Peter Sinks area, I think this alone is worth the trip. We got a wild animal attack over there. Stop harassing the wildlife. Great Western Trail, baby. Bow, bow. This must be Peter's latrine. All right, here's the situation. We've gone 8.5 miles. I'm getting a little tired. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. I don't think I'll set up camp. Not yet. I've got a little ways to go. I think for this leg, trying to get to Left Hand Fork Canyon, if I just do about 12 miles a day, I think I could do it in 3 days. Almost. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Hey! Oh! Well, I'm glad this isn't my only option for water. Even if I have a filter, that's pretty gross. For this next part, I'm gonna hurry through as quickly as I can because we still have another mile of trail ahead of us before it enters the forest again. And there are big storm clouds coming in. And the last place I wanna be in the middle of a thunderstorm is out in a big field. Here we go, the storm's here. Now that the rain has started, I've got to be careful because the trail is very slippery now. So believe it or not, I really like hiking in the rain. Keeps me cool during the heat of the day, and if I plan properly, then I can keep myself dry underneath. So there's not a problem with getting too cold at night. And here's one more reason I like hiking in the rain. We've had a long day, huh? Yep, it's 8:15. The sun is just barely going down. We've already heard a lot of pops and snaps coming from the woods, so I think it might be another long night, but sometimes that's just the way it is in the woods. 55 degrees. We'll see how cool it gets tonight. I don't know if I'm going to remember to leave the thermometer in my hammock. So we've got ourselves a really nice fire to keep us safe and cozy for several hours.
It is 4:30 in the morning and the rain started again. Let's go ahead and check the temperature now, huh? I checked the thermometer and it's 50 degrees. Which really seems like it shouldn't be that bad. I've just got a summer sleeping bag with me and then just a closed cell foam pad underneath me in my hammock. And it's worked out pretty well, but it's gotten a little chillier than I think I would have liked. So far I'm staying dry. I checked the ends of the hammock and they seem to be doing okay. I also readjusted Ragnar's stuff underneath so she can stay dry.
We broke camp this morning and it looks like the map got a little wet, so we're going to try and dry it out a little bit. But we're already on our way. We're going to try and do 15 miles today, and maybe we can get this 37.5 done in 3 days. It is hotter than Hades out here. It's about 2 in the afternoon. Me and the dog are sitting underneath this juniper tree in the shade trying to cool off. Oh, that feels nice. Oh, that does feel nice, doesn't it? Oh, I think water during the day, fire at night are going to be my 2 best friends during this trip. After the dog, of course. Onward. Alright guys, we're 17 miles in. Not even halfway yet. But it has been beautiful so far. I'm just enjoying myself, taking a lot of video. So no need to rush it. We've got plenty of time if I decide to take another 2 days to finish up. I still think I can make it in 3 though. I started wearing something called a shemagh. That's just basically a 4-foot square piece of fabric, usually made out of muslin. I just found a light cloth though, something breathable, and made it myself. But I like to carry it around because it's helpful for keeping the sun off of you if you're in a hot climate. It's helpful for keeping the mosquitoes off of you at night. You can wrap yourself up so that just your eyes are showing. It's great. And another use for the shemagh is that you can dip it in water and then wear it to cool you down if it gets hot, which is what I'm going to do now. All right, there she is, soaking wet. She's gonna keep me cool during the day. Okay, looks like we're about 85 degrees. Ah, that's okay. It's been hotter this year. Someone's a little sleepy, and we've still got 3 miles to go today. I'm pretty sure I found the road to heaven. I just wish you guys could appreciate this through more than just the eyes of a video camera, because it's a completely different experience actually being out here. It's so true that my video camera wasn't able to capture the full experience I had. When I looked back at the video, I had to laugh a little bit at how dry and dull everything looked, but it was beautiful at the time. I really could not have guessed that the most aggressive thing we'd run into on this trail is cows. Not bulls, cows. These things stare you down, and they don't run. They get closer, like they're challenging you. So we gotta pass through a bunch of them now. And I have to admit, it's got me a little bit concerned. Before my trip, I figured cows were dumb animals that would run away as soon as they saw you. It wasn't until later on I was talking with a coworker whose dad was a rancher, who said that he was more afraid of getting trampled by a mother protecting her young than he was about getting trampled by a bull. I know now to be at least a little bit more careful next time. Cool, folks. We made it safely through Satan's cow fields, and now we're going down Miller Creek. We've got another 1.5 miles before we get to the right-hand fork of Logan Canyon. And then it's west, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 mile, and then south again. And then from there, we've only got 17 miles to go till the end of this leg and the car. And I'm gonna be thankful for that. Huzzah! Go on. Ragnar, come here. Whoa, those guys are stampeding. Yeah! This is my sleeping arrangement for tonight. Got the old Grand Trunk hammock set up. It has a mosquito net, and I've treated the bottom with permethrin so the mosquitoes don't bite me through the bottom. And then I also have a mosquito net for Ragnar, but the mosquitoes are actually really not out at all tonight. So hopefully that'll keep up, and hopefully we can get a good night's rest. So I ran into a guy and a girl today and their 2-year-old son, and they were pretty close to the trailhead for the right-hand fork of Logan Canyon. And they asked me where I was going and where I was coming from. And so I told him, and when I said I was going to Richards Hollow, it still had a long ways to go. He's like, wow, that's a really long ways. That's actually pretty wild country out there. You know, I heard that they had just recently released a grizzly bear and cub out there. And I thought, what? That's not true at all. And he said that his friend had told him that, and that his friend had proof. I forget what kind of proof he said he had, but I thought that's not true at all. His friend must have been trying to trick him. But it's still enough to make me nervous, because it just seems like I can feel okay with black bear and mountain lion, that kind of stuff, but cougar or grizzly bear is just in a class of its own. Man, these sparks keep shooting out of the fire and onto Ragnar, and now it smells like burned hair. On the first night I thought my tarp was a little bit too short, but I am staying 100% dry under here. I think I'm going to be sleeping well until the morning. Alright, well we're 26 miles in and I'm pretty tired. We still have a decent amount of water. We have a quart left. I had kind of reserved it for the dog, and so I hadn't filtered it. And so, well, I might be forced to drink some of that. But I'm definitely going to let my dog have dibs on the water. She's still drinking as much as she wants, and I'm cutting back a little bit. Maybe that's unwise, but I think we'll be fine. We're not too far from the next spring, so we'll just take it easy. You know, in my experience, mountaintops are 100% deceiving. You think you're about there, and then when you get to that ridge line, it keeps going, and then you get to that ridge line and it keeps going, and it seems like you do that 3 or 4 times. See, I should have gone with my instinct. I reached the part where I thought it was going to be the top of the mountain, but it's still a little ways off.
Hey Jimmy, you know what would be awesome? You know, we'd take one of those huge 4x8 pieces of plywood and we'd haul it out in the middle of nowhere and just throw it down there in the dirt.
So it's kind of funny to me, the guy that I was talking with last night, who told me that this area was wild country and there's all sorts of cougar and bear out here, and that probably nobody had been back here in a while. Well, I've been going along this road only for maybe 20 minutes and already seen 3 vehicles. So, I mean, yeah, Rick's Canyon was pretty overgrown, and I don't think many people go that way, but I was never really more than probably 4 miles from any kind of main road or main trail. So, just goes to show there's not a whole lot of wild places out there that are truly wild, you know, that you can hike for miles and miles and miles and really not run into anybody. So cherish those places if you find them. This is it, the refreshing, the life-giving cold water spring. Complete with cow poop, but it actually looks really good. And I am really excited to filter this stuff and swig it down. These cows like testing their boundaries. I think it's more curious than anything. And now Derek and the trusty adventure dog have successfully taken over Coldwater Spring after chasing away the bloodthirsty spawn of Satan dairy cows. Or they just left on their own. If you guys are hiking the Great Western Trail and you're planning on using some of the springs along the way, which there are many, for your source of water, well, be prepared for conditions like this, because most of the springs you're going to find are going to be like this. Some of you might be wondering what kind of water filtration system I use. I'm using the Sawyer Squeeze water filtration system, which I found at Walmart. It's a lot cheaper than the other ones, but it filters down to the same level as the other ones do, the more expensive ones. So all you need to do is take your bag, fill it up with some water. Once that's full, squeeze out the extra air. I just found that makes it easier if you squeeze out the extra air. So then put that filter on top, and I'm already filled up on all my containers, but then you just roll it like a tube of toothpaste and squeeze, and then that's pure water right there. Now, one thing I would advise you to do before you put this back in your pocket or your pack is there's still a lot of water in the filter, so you kind of have to do one of these, I don't know, like Catholic blessing things, just to shake all the water, the excess water that's in the filtration. Hi. It's hot. Squirrel. It's Western. It's great. Yes. Western gray. I think my feet are finally waking up to the reality of the situation. They're really starting to ache. Well, that was kind of freaky. Ragnar started growling, and she hasn't done that all trip. All right, let's go. Oh man, what the heck? I think my feet hurt so bad that I've been ignoring the pain in my legs and knees. But hey, we're almost finished. And 39 miles in 3 days, that's not bad. That's not bad at all by my standards. You guys, we made it. We did 39 miles in 3 days. I can't be happier. And I hope those of you who are unable or not willing to get into the outdoors, that you're able to share in some of my adventures and maybe able to have some of that joy that I feel when I go in the outdoors, have it spread to you too. Ragnar's about done too. I think it's about time to call it a night. The sun's going down and I found this fabulous throne. So I'll see you next time on the trail.